Hi, this is a little bit unusual video because I don't have a whiteboard telling you things. I'm just going to kind of talk to you about what we're going to spend the rest of the quarter doing. Now, I realize that as seniors, you have a lot to do your last quarter, and so this is going to be pretty flexible. The timing of everything is going to be pretty flexible. I'll have some dates for you to have things done by. But that's really just so that you won't have a mountain of things to do at the end. You can do things early. You can do things a little later. That's okay. But just know that I've tried to plan this out so that it would be the easiest for you. The rest of the quarter we'll be working on your senior research paper. And I have tried to make this as simple and easy as I possibly can for you. I have a 12-page packet which we will be going over in more detail tomorrow in our meeting. But there are just some things I want to get into before we do that, and I thought a video would be the best way to do that. First of all, the goal of a research paper is to present at least this kind of research paper, is to present your ideas on something, support them with logic and facts, and document what you have found in your research. So that's what we're going to be doing. This kind of research paper is what's called an argumentative research paper. There are other words for it, but that's what I would call it. And your topic is to be what's I call a hot topic. And last year there was some confusion among the seniors about what hot topic actually meant. And it's an English idiom, which means basically something that people are talking about right now, that there are different opinions about, and so as a responsible, intelligent adult, you should be kind of forming your own opinions, especially at your age. You should be beginning to form some of your own opinions about things. And so the last thing I want to do is feed you opinions and expect you to just vomit them back at me. I don't want to do that. I want you to come up with your own opinions about things, which may differ from mine, and that's okay. I'm not grading you on opinions. I'm grading you on your writing and your documentation of your research. One of the things about grammar is the conventions we use, not only for writing, but also, as I said, for documentation, like the ability that our reader has to check up on us and make sure that we're not lying about what we say, or that our opinions really are as well-founded as we think they are. So I want to look at, I have over here on my computer my packet that I'm going to be giving you. And the first thing I want to do is actually on the second page. So no, it's actually on the third page. Well, okay, I'm going to be scrolling down there, and I have some examples of ideas for topics that you could write about. These things are either perennially controversial subjects, or things that are right now, things that people are talking about in platforms like Facebook groups and bulletin boards on the internet, and in the news even, and talk shows and things like that. So the first one that I have written here is spiritual deconstruction. Right now I have several people, friends of mine, who are going through this, which basically means that at some level they are taking apart the beliefs that they were taught to believe spiritually by their parents or the culture around them, and examining them to see whether they still agree with them or not. Many of them are ending up being agnostic or atheist and making statements online on various platforms about that. And so it's for me, it's a kind of a hot topic as I look around online. There are many YouTube videos about it and things like that. Another thing is when we have I just pushed the wrong button. Yeah, this is not working. Sorry. Another thing is when we have countrywide manifestations, or what we call in the United States protests, and what protests entail and whether they do any good or not, all that kind of topic. In the United States, there were many, many protests last year. Some of them quite either violent or destructive. And does this do any good? Or is it, well, I'm not gonna get into my opinion. Next one has to do with LGBTQ plus issues, pride surrounding that, the implications of how many rights we give people who are identifying as transgender or as some other gender other than the sex that they were born with, and what the implications that has with public life, with college athletics, with many other things. And that whole idea of gender identity and what we used to call gender dysphoria in the mental health profession. Yeah, so lots of things to think about in that area. One thing that's a perennial hot topic is social stratification, which can be racial, can be economic, can be religious. So how do we navigate that area, that broad topic area? Another one is whether charity and nonprofit organizations in places like Honduras or other places are really helping people, or in the long run harming them. That's a hot topic, especially for me among missionary community. What's the best way for us to address need in a community, without the various surrounding problems that can be caused? I'm trying very hard not to talk too much about what I think about these things. Beauty standards, how social media affects that, and what that causes as far as depression and addiction to plastic surgery and different things like that. Let's see. Technology and information overload, and the effects of these on the psyches of humans, and especially upon the emotional, intellectual, and social development of children. Racism, any form of bigotry. What entails racism? It seems that the word may have been redefined, at least in the popular sense, of late. And what does that mean? Nationalism, especially under Trump in the United States, there was a resurge of patriotism and nationalism, and opposing that, the idea of globalism, and what in the age of the internet do international boundaries mean, and do we need them anymore, etc., etc. Fat shaming versus the need for people to be healthy. that yeah, the controversy that can cause. Separation of church and state is a big one. Should people's faith be expressed in the public venues, especially in government associated applications and at work even, and things like that? What right does the government have to tell us, for example, or to tell a Muslim woman, for example, that she can or cannot wear her headscarf? Those are some sub-issues underneath that. Let's see, video games and the good and bad things about them. The Mandela Effect is one that I think is quite interesting. And if you look into that, you will probably be interested in it too. How many people can remember something happening, when if we look at actual documentation that didn't happen, or vice versa. So what does that mean? Does that mean there's time travel? Does that mean there's a parallel universe? And things like that. And while we're at it, aliens and is there intelligent life elsewhere in the universe? Let's see. How we raise children. Are we spoiling them? Are we not really investing in our children as much as we should, in order to come out with emotionally mature civil adults? Social media and privacy and marketing, and yeah, all these things, the situations surrounding that, issues surrounding that. And there are some other ones a few others that I skipped over in your packet. There are also many other hot topics, potential hot topics that you could talk about in your research paper. But when you have until Thursday to come up with a topic, and you can just come up with a topic like that. But you have to break it down into an outline, and that's due on Friday. So the sooner you pick a topic, the better, because making the outline is going to be a complicated thing to do. As you will see when you look at that part in your packet, it is quite complex, and starts with the idea of a thesis statement. And a thesis statement is basically when you narrow down one opinion that you have regarding your topic, and then you say, and these three things are why I think that's true. So your thesis statement should be something that has an emphatic word like should or must or ought to, something like that. And for example, we should not, this is just something off the top of my head. Please do not think I'm trying to impose my opinion on you. I have opinions, and it's very hard not to say them. But we should not allow transgender males to participate in women's sports. And these are the three reasons I think that. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not gonna give you my reasons, because if you decide to do that topic, then I don't want you to just to take my reasons. I want you to think. But there are some good reasons. There are some reasons why people think the opposite too. And so think about this, that in your outline, I want you to and in your paper, I want you to address the opposition, people that don't believe the same thing that you do, and be able to refute that in some way. So thinking about all of that, what are you going to be writing about? This is the first hurdle that you need to go over. Like I said, you have until Thursday to come up with a topic, and you have until Friday to write at least a basic outline of your reasons why you think that, and and what the opposing people say, and you'll see what I mean. There's a form in your packet. Let's see. I do want to address the issue of plagiarism. Every year I have someone who plagiarizes, and I'm going to read, let's see, this little statement I wrote here on page 1 of your packet. If you plagiarize any part of your research paper on the final draft, okay, you will receive a 0 on your final draft. And you will be required to rewrite the paper in your own words and then resubmit it. If you do it again, you will then receive credit for the assignment. If you plagiarize again, you will not receive credit for the assignment. It will remain a 0. And actually that has happened once. On the final research paper, so please do not do that. There is a page in here that's devoted to plagiarism and how not to plagiarize, and I suggest that you really review that. I don't know whether I'm going to spend time reviewing that in a video or in a meeting, but basically, to avoid plagiarism, you must give credit whenever you use another person's idea, another person's opinion, another person's theory, another person's words, especially exact words, any facts, statistics, graphs, drawings, any pieces of information that are not common knowledge. So it's common knowledge, for example, that eating saturated fat causes health problems. You don't need to document that. You can just say it, because you didn't. I just said it just now, and I'm not referring to any particular piece of literature that I found. Also, if you are writing your paper and you come to body paragraph number 2 or 3, and you basically reword something that you found online. And by rewording, I mean that you change 3 or 4 words. There are a couple of reasons that that's plagiarism. Number 1, you're stealing someone's ideas, okay? And if you don't document that, then that's plagiarism out and out. And then number 2, what was I going to say? I got distracted by my cat. Let's see. I don't know what number 2 was, sorry. But you're not supposed to be just rewording what someone else wrote. That's just writing a summary. And writing a summary for your history class is not the same thing as writing a research paper. Again, the goal of a research paper is to present what you think about something and back it up with statistics, facts, experiences, quotes, anything like that, that you can give support to your ideas. So anyway, like I said, I'm kind of glancing here at a little section on your packet that's about avoiding plagiarism and about common knowledge and what that is, and you will need to review that. I also have, I believe it's on the 2nd page, yeah, the 2nd page of your packet, there is a schedule, like I said before, of dates that things should be done by. These dates are flexible, okay? These dates are mainly given for your own benefit so that you won't get behind and you won't have to do everything at the end. So if you have a meeting for Trabajo Social, or if you have a planning meeting that takes a long time, or your class goes somewhere, goes to the school for pictures or whatever, on the day that you have to have something turned in, plan ahead and do it before that, best, or do it the next day, that's okay. And I also want to mention that if you do things early, which I think that if you look through this packet, you should be able to do your research paper with little or no input, more input from me. I spent all day yesterday tweaking this packet from last year's, trying to make it more clear and easier to follow. And I think it really should guide you. I will be doing videos, like a video on how to integrate your research into body paragraphs and things like that. That should be helpful for you, but they will be done at the time that I'm about to have that part due. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to do things early, you get all of your research pages approved by me, and it's time to write your introduction, and it's like a week early. That's fine. And you could go ahead and do that, and if you have questions, you can ask me those questions. I also want you to note that here are the minimums, okay? The minimum number of sources is 4, since you have to do 4 research pages. You need to do another research page if you add another source. I've had people have 10 sources before, and you have to do another research page for each one of the sources that you have. And I go into in the packet on how to do a research page, and I'll explain it more in a video later on. Let's see. So minimum number of sources is 4. Minimum number of notes altogether is 40, and you'll see what I mean as we go on. Okay, so a note is not a complete paragraph that you copied from your source. That's not a note. And if you don't know what notes are, you don't remember from last year how I told you what notes are and what they are not, then you will need to wait for that video. And the minimum number of pages in your final draft is 5. It should be 5 to 6 pages. Please don't make it a lot more than 6 pages. If it's 7 pages, okay, but please don't make it 10, 11, 12 pages. Some of you get carried away. Please don't do that. I will have a lot of papers to grade, and I would like to not have to grade 10, 12 page long papers. And so those are the minimums. The last thing I want to talk to you about is the importance of following directions. If you are not absolutely clear about what I want you to do and how I want you to do it on a particular section, wait for the video and watch the video. And if you still are not clear about how to do that, then ask me and I will explain it the best I can. Follow directions. Do not decide, oh, well, she said that, but I think I'll do it this way, because that is not going to fly. More on the research project than on any other thing that we've had so far. Research papers are technical things, and they have technical directions, and especially in like the bibliography and the parenthetical documentation, and yeah, those two things especially. So please follow directions. And I think that's all I have to say for now. Then we'll have a meeting, and like I said, we'll go through all of the pages in your packet during the meeting and give you an opportunity to ask questions then. Happy writing.